Okay, it's time. Well, welcome to class 4 of Native Food for Life online. Before we do anything today, if you haven't already done so, please complete the survey. And I put the survey link in the chat. And once you complete the survey, and when you do the survey, make sure you put Darylyn Berryman as the instructor. So if y'all wouldn't mind doing that now, if you haven't already done so. And thinking maybe someone else would join us, but I did get 2 emails today, folks saying that they would not be able to make it and they would watch it online. So I know there's 2 that are out. Okay, well. Our challenge of the week was to eat sweet potatoes. How did it go? Sissy, were you able to watch the videos online? Did you get to eat sweet potatoes last week? If you did, type in the chat box or let us know what you ate. And I know I heard from one person that was in the class last week. They said they've already lost 5 pounds and they ate sweet potatoes every day this week and they were so excited. And they even tried sweet potatoes right before they were done in baking. They split them and put dried cherries and walnuts in them. And they said they didn't have to even eat dessert because the sweet potatoes satisfied that sweet craving for them too. So I'm so glad that she was able to do that. I hope she shows up tonight. And if you did do the challenge, did you run into any challenges, any pushback from the family or anything that you maybe weren't able to succeed because of some hurdle? Let us know. We'll try to work that out, see if we have any ideas to help you get forward. Maybe you lacked time because sometimes potatoes can take a while if you don't have a microwave. Anything that you want to talk about potatoes? Oh, okay. So one thing about not liking potatoes is, after you do this food challenge, and Jennifer touched on it last week, is your taste buds do begin to change, and you'll be able to finally taste the subtleness of the potatoes if we don't fry them and we don't coat them in butter, and we'll be able to taste those natural flavors, and your taste buds will pick right up on them before they weren't able to taste those. So if you're thinking you don't like potatoes, just give it a little longer, keep putting them in your diet, and try again and let us know.
I would also say to try them out in different methods of preparation. Maybe you want like a mashed curried potato, or maybe try different herbs and seasonings. I know my husband didn't like sweet potatoes, but he liked chili. And so I would cut up the sweet potato and cook it in the chili, and it would just absorb, the broth and the chili juice, right? And it takes on that flavor, and then he ended up liking them. And in that dish, of course. But the point is, like, the way you prepare them with different seasonings, or maybe in a different meal, maybe you mash it in a black bean taco or something like that, add it to a meal that you already like, and maybe that might help you incorporate that into the diet.
I like that idea. That's a good one. Because if you think about all these wraps and you put things in there, instead of putting my hummus every time, I should smear some sweet potato in there and I still get the benefit. And I'm excited to try that. Thank you. Okay, for anyone just entering now, let's give you a heads up. There is a survey. If you wouldn't mind completing that survey, if you haven't already done so, it's in the chat box and also in the email we sent out tonight. And please put my name, Darylyn Berryman, as the instructor. And let's see. Well, today's pre-recorded lesson has a competition in it. Really excited about this video. It was filmed at the Kinlottie Bordertown Dormitory in Flagstaff, Arizona. It features students and teachers, and all of the recipes in the competition are in the Lesson 4 class handouts that are in the pre-class email, or you can download them, and I'll put the link in the chat. And there's also other great information in there, including a useful chart on how to cook grains and directions on a new way to cook brown rice. And 2 new ways to make popcorn. And the last page of the handout has the worksheet for today's challenge of the week. And so while we're having these lessons, if you go ahead and fill out your challenge of the week, you'll have it done by the end of the class and you'll be able to start your challenge as soon as possible. And so I do want to thank you for completing our weekly evaluation, or like completing that survey. It's really helpful if you do that survey. I really appreciate that. And it helps us demonstrate the value of our program. And well, I think now we do have another entrant. So want to remind you just to do the survey. If you haven't already done so, it's in the chat link, chat box, or in the email. But I think now, if we don't have any other questions about sweet potatoes in our challenge of the week, we may, any pushback from the family or any challenges you had from eating so many potatoes this week, put it in the chat, let us know. I'll go ahead and get our video going. Okay.
Welcome to Lesson 4 of Native Food for Life. Today we're going to meet the power plate. For those of you just joining us today, I'm registered dietitian nutritionist Whitney Brooks, a member of the Seneca Nation and your host for today's class. Today we will learn about the 4 food groups. Everything else is optional and mostly unnecessary. We'll also talk about how profits and politics influence what the U.S. government recommends that Americans eat. Then we'll go over the history of the Dîner power plate and how this information is useful for everyone. And then we will watch Food is Medicine, the game show, to see which chef makes the winning dish and provide you with their recipes. So during this game show, you're going to hear many great ideas for meals that you can make at home, so you may want to be ready to take some notes. Before we go on, I want to talk about taking caution with medications. Just as a quick reminder, if you've been doing the weekly challenges and eating more plants and less animals and animal products, and you take medication that can lower your blood sugar or blood pressure, please be careful. These medications become too strong with a diet change. Check in with your healthcare provider if you are not feeling well or see your blood sugar or blood pressure are too low. I want everyone in this program to be successful and safe. So here it is, the native power plate. The native power plate is a diagram that was designed to illustrate 4 healthy food groups. Today, you will hear a lot about fruits, grains, beans, and vegetables. It's called the power plate because these foods provide the power to live, to grow, to get healthy, and to stay healthy. The blue around the outside represents water, which of course is the best thing to drink at meals and throughout the day. Remember, water is life. Let's go over some nutrition basics. For anyone who wants to turn around diabetes, high blood pressure, constipation, or other chronic medical conditions, or even prevent them in the first place, here are the basics of power plate eating. The first point is to eat whole plant foods. By whole, we mean that the food is in the least processed state possible. So for example, when choosing oatmeal, we're going to choose rolled oats or steel-cut oats over the instant oatmeal, which is more processed. Another example is choosing a whole apple with the skin on versus applesauce, or even worse, apple juice, which is highly processed. Number 2 is to avoid animal products. So meat and dairy are not needed for health, and these things can cause or sustain medical problems. Most of the animals eaten in the United States come from factory farms. These commercial meats contain hormones and antibiotics used to quickly fatten up the animals and keep them well in the crowded, unnatural conditions that they live in. Milk and milk products, such as cheese, are also animal products that are best to avoid. The next point on our nutrition basics is number 3, minimize oils. This means lard, butter, or any other type of pure fat. Vegetable oil is a highly processed food. And remember, we don't find oil growing on trees. 1 tablespoon of oil has 13 grams of fat. So you can see how easy it is to eat way too much fat if oil is going into your foods. We want to aim to get less than 30 grams of fat each day. Our last point for our nutrition basics is number 4. Take vitamin B12. This is the one vitamin that is recommended to be supplemented when you're eating on the power plate. We'll talk about this more later on. Now that we've covered our nutrition basics, now we can focus on what's actually on the power plate, starting with fruits, which are really fantastic. So this group is delicious and packed with lots of nutrients. So these are actually really healthy. So let's look at some myths and facts about fruit. So myth number 1, sugar in fruit is bad for you. The fact is, fruits are superfoods. The sugar in fruit isn't just poured in there or added. It's also packaged with fiber, minerals, potassium, vitamin C, and protective phytochemicals and antioxidants. All of these things help protect and repair your cells, and multiple studies have shown no effect or a beneficial effect on blood sugar levels and overall health. One of my favorite examples of super healthy fruit are blueberries and other blue and purple berries. These types of berries contain anthocyanins, and these compounds promote brain health. So, myth number 2, I have diabetes, so I can't have fruit. So the fact is, fruit is good for everyone, even people with diabetes. For example, a study of 500,000 people in China found that those who ate fresh fruit daily were 12% less likely to get type 2 diabetes than those who never or rarely ate it. It was also found that people with diabetes at the start of the study who ate fruit regularly were slightly less likely to die or to get complications of diabetes, such as eye problems like diabetic retinopathy, during the study compared to those who ate fruit rarely or never. People with diabetes who ate fresh fruit daily also are less likely to have a heart attack or stroke and are less likely to have eye or kidney disease than those who ate fresh fruit never or rarely. What is it about fruit that makes it so good for us? The answer is synergy. The fiber, vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals in fruit work together to have antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, and anti-hypertensive effects, as well as promoting healthy cholesterol and blood sugar levels. Fruit also appear to feed our good gut bacteria. So at the end of the day, let's eat fruit. So many fruits are just wash and eat, and that makes them the ultimate fast food. So the wash and eat types: bananas, blueberries, grapes, raspberries, strawberries, pears and apples, peaches, and plums. Other fruits may require just a few minutes of preparation. These include melons, kiwis, mangoes, pineapple, orange and citrus, kiwis, and pomegranates. So if you have diabetes, lower sugar fruits like berries are a bit better, but all of these are fine for most people. Here's an idea. You can have a fruit as a snack or dessert after a meal. You can even add them to your oatmeal. Additionally, you can put berries, apples, pears, or grapes in your salads. Another great thing I like to do is to eat fruit after a workout to help with recovery. Next up are whole grains. Grains are another seriously misunderstood food group. Yet, grains, especially whole grains, form the basis of the diet of the healthiest cultures in the world. Let's investigate why grains belong on the native power plate. While corn is often thought of as a vegetable, it is really a grain. According to Chef Lois Ellen Frank, Corn has many layers of meaning to indigenous peoples throughout the Americas. Corn is considered by many to be the essence of life. It is one of the most important ingredients in Native cuisine, Native art, science, literature, and ceremonies. When we see how many varieties of corn there are all around the Americas, it's easy to see just how important this staple crop is. When it comes to whole grains, we have so many options. Our whole grains include corn, which does include popcorn, oats, brown rice, quinoa, buckwheat, amaranth, sorghum, and millet. All of these are actually gluten-free grains also. Additionally, we also have wheat, which includes cracked wheat, wheat berries, durum, bulgur, spelt, kamut, and farro. We also have barley and rye. These grains do contain gluten. So, how many of these whole grains have you tried? While corn and rice are nice, explore some new grains this week. Quinoa and barley are two that are easy for most people to find in grocery stores. Good to know is that flour from whole grains, such as whole wheat flour, is okay too. But remember, the closer something is to the way it grew from the earth, the better it is for our gut. So, what's a whole grain? The Whole Grain Council gave us this nice little picture to show us what makes up a whole grain. So, a whole grain, such as whole wheat, is made of 3 different layers. The first layer is the outer layer called the bran. The bran is the multi-layered outer skin of the edible kernel. This layer contains antioxidants, B vitamins, and fiber. The next part is the germ. The germ of the whole grain is the embryo, which is the part of the grain that sprouts into a new plant. This part contains B vitamins, protein, minerals, and healthy fats. The biggest part of a whole grain typically is called the endosperm. The endosperm is the baby plant's food supply, which provides essential energy. This part contains starchy carbohydrates, proteins, and small amounts of vitamins and minerals. When we make things out of processed grain, like this very boring looking white bread in the bottom corner, we are removing part of the whole grain, usually the bran. If you notice, we want to aim for something that's made out of whole grains, like this whole wheat bread in the upper right-hand corner. Notice the deeper color. That means it has more of the grain intact. So, what can whole grains do for you and your family? Well, in spite of what people who were misled by the book Wheat Belly, actual science has shown that whole grains are good for health. Grains such as corn are filling. In actual research studies, whole grains lower the risk of our most common diseases. It has been shown that regular consumption of whole grains reduces our risk of stroke, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. They also reduce our risk of colon cancer and high blood pressure. Additionally, consuming whole grains can help with high cholesterol. Let's check out this handout together. In the first column is a list of many different types of grains. In the second column is the grain to water ratio. So that just means how much water you're going to cook the grains with to 1 cup of that grain. So, for example, if we have 1 cup of amaranth, it's the first one, we will need 2.5 cups of water. And we will need to cook that in a pot on the stove for 20 to 25 minutes covered. And in the last column, it shows the yield. So doing this will provide 2.5 cups of cooked amaranth. If you've never tried this grain, look for it at Walmart or any other store with a large selection of grains. Use this list as a guide to try out new grains. Popcorn is a great whole grain snack. It's also really easy to make on your own without the extra oil. There's so many different varieties of popcorn kernels to try. If you've ever seen the inside of a really good seed catalog, you'll see several different varieties of corn that was intended to be popped. So check those out, and sometimes you may even see some of these varieties making their way into the grocery stores, where you can buy whole kernels there. So check out this video I made where I make popcorn without the oil. Welcome back to this week's food demonstration. Today we're going to make some air-popped popcorn. So why not use regular microwave popcorn? Well, for one, by itself, popcorn is a nutritious whole grain. There's a lot of really great benefits, but if you notice, here I've cut open a name brand microwave popcorn, but if you notice, the kernels are covered. They're totally caked in a solid fat. So this adds a lot of excess fat and calories to our popcorn that we don't want. So in order to avoid excess and unnecessary fat calories with our popcorn snack, I'm going to show you a really quick, easy recipe. It makes a cheesy, and I say cheesy because it doesn't actually have any cheese in it, spicy popcorn. Let's get started. All right, so I made air pop popcorn two different ways. The first way was with this standard handy dandy air popper, very convenient. It is a little bit of an investment though. But today I also made air popped popcorn in a regular paper bag in my microwave. So it's still very convenient. So all I did to make this is I put a quarter cup, just a quarter cup scoop of popcorn kernels in this paper bag, and then I folded it down 3 times to trap it in, make sure nothing popped out. And then I laid it on its side inside my microwave, and I set it for about 4 minutes, but you don't need all 4 minutes. So I set it, and all I have to do is listen for the popping. And I know to pull it out when the pops are about 2 seconds apart. That's to make sure it doesn't burn. So I made a nice full bag here, just without any added fat or oil, which is great. So for our recipe, to give this popcorn a little extra flavor without the excess calories, I'm going to show you. So I said spicy, but this is my favorite hot sauce, Frank's hot sauce. You can use sriracha. It's more of a smoother paste, or whatever your favorite brand of hot sauce is. This is just mine. So all I'm going to do is take my bowl here, and then I'm going to coat the sides of the bowl with hot sauce. So it's going to end up being about 2 tablespoons. I don't even need that much, just enough to coat the sides of the bowl. And this hot sauce does have a little bit of salt in there, so I don't need to actually add any to this popcorn. So now that the sides of my bowl are nice and coated with this hot sauce, this is going to take my little scraper here and kind of spread it around a little bit. This is just so that we can evenly coat our kernels as best as we can. And now that that's all set, I'm going to introduce a new ingredient. We may not know about nutritional yeast, but you can get nutritional yeast at most grocery stores, or you can order it online. There are different brands. Mine comes in just this little spice-sized jar or container. Some are fortified with vitamin B12, but you've got to check the label because some may not have as much as others. But it is a nice nutritional punch when it's fortified properly. So nutritional yeast is great. It's a small investment, but it does last a long time. So right here, I've got about 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, and I'm going to sprinkle that around my bowl. I'm going to sprinkle that, kind of mix it with the hot sauce. So this is going to help coat the popcorn and mix the nutritional yeast together. So I have my air pop popcorn here that I can add. And then I also I'm going to add in a little bit of my bag. As you can see, the stuff that was popped in the bag turned out really great, and it looks just the same. So now, I think I have enough. My spoon scraper. And now I'm just going to gently toss this around the bowl. I'm going to be careful not to crush it. And then I'm just going to incorporate this until everything's kind of nicely coated. And I can always add more hot sauce or nutritional yeast if I think it needs a little more. So there you have it. Nice, slightly spicy, cheesy, not actually salty snack. All right. Hope you guys like this one. The next group on our native power plate are vegetables. Vegetables are so important. Vegetables are really important because they decrease our chronic disease risk. This group also contains a lot of potassium, especially our dark leafy greens like kale and collards. The folate in vegetables actually provides the foundation for a hormone called serotonin, which is really great for our mood. Vegetables also help you stay regular and feel full after meals. Vegetables can also keep your eyes healthy and improve bone density. They really are awesome. It is really important to vary your veggies. We want to aim to eat all the colors of the rainbow. Veggies are also good for us when they're raw or cooked. Another great goal is to include them at every meal. Ways to do this include stirring baby spinach into soups or bake into pasta dishes like this vegetable lasagna that Chef Lois Ellen Frank has. We can also start our meals with a salad. We can have a green smoothie at breakfast, or we can try steamed greens on toast or in savory oatmeal. Another great idea is to snack on veggies while you're cooking. Another thing we can do is cut up veggies for our kids when we're cooking too. And now finally, our last but very important group, beans. This group packs a powerful combo of protein and fiber, as well as other nutrients. This is really one of my favorite groups because it makes me feel very full and satisfied after meals. Also, the fiber that's in beans is also really good for our gut flora. Here's some nice ideas for enjoying beans. You can enjoy beans in a hearty chili. You can enjoy them in a tasty taco, burrito, or enchilada filling. You can make veggie burgers out of them. They're also a great salad topper. Beans can also be whipped up into a chip dip or a sandwich spread. My favorite are the black bean brownies. Those are amazing. Some of us might be worried that beans don't like us very much. But if you think this is you, here's 4 easy tips to help ease any possible discomfort that you might have. First is ease into it. You can start with a small serving, like a half cup of beans at a time. If you're cooking dry beans, soak them overnight. Drain the soaking water and rinse the beans really well, and that should get rid of the majority of the gas-forming compounds, if they even bother you. And then you can cook the rinsed beans in fresh water until soft. Another great tip is to rinse canned beans really well. This also removes a lot of the excess salt if the beans were canned in salt. And remember, don't give up. Sometimes your body just takes time to adjust. You heard about cooking beans in lesson 2, but I think this is a good review just in case you haven't tried cooking beans from scratch yet. Here are 4 easy steps to cook dry beans. First, sort through the beans to make sure there are no pebbles mixed in. Do this by dumping them 1 to 2 handfuls at a time onto a plate or a paper towel. You can pick out and throw away the little pebbles. Nobody wants to eat those. And then you can place your sorted beans into a pot. Repeat this until all the beans are sorted and in the pot. Second, rinse the beans with clean water. Third, cover the beans with water. Use about 3 times as much water as beans in your pot. Fourth, you can drain off the soak water. You can use this water to water plants so it doesn't go to waste. And then you're going to add fresh water, about twice as much water as beans. Then you're going to bring to a boil for 10 minutes, then reduce the heat and simmer uncovered for the amount of time listed on your handout. Some varieties like lentils will take less time. So how much do we eat anyways? We've talked a lot about what to eat, but how much should you eat to make sure you're getting enough? It's easy. Aim for at least 3 servings from each of the 4 food groups each day. That means 3 fruits, 3 vegetables, 3 servings of grains, and 3 servings of beans. For example, a serving of beans is 1/2 a cup of whole beans. So, total, try for 1 1/2 cups of beans every day. Also, kids should also eat the 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 way every day, but their serving sizes will be smaller based on their age. Nuts and seeds are not on the power plate, but they are very healthy in small amounts. Remember, nuts come in shells for a reason. So we want to aim for 1 serving of nuts a day. 1 serving equals 1 small handful of nuts or 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed or whole chia seed or peanut butter. Flaxseed, chia seed, and walnuts are rich in omega-3 fats. Try to eat these ones more often. Let's talk about vitamin B12. Vitamin B12, which is produced by bacteria and other one-celled organisms in the small intestines of animals, is made by humans, although it is not well absorbed and retained. Some animals do absorb it though, and traces end up in their flesh. So, B12 supplement is required on a plant-based diet when we are avoiding eating animal flesh. Vitamin B12 is also recommended for everyone aged 50 and up, or if you're on certain medications like acid blockers or metformin. Vitamin B12 is important for nerve health, blood health, and memory. But how much should you take? The recommended daily allowance, or RDA, is tiny, only 2.4 micrograms per day. However, because it might not all be absorbed and a larger amount is not harmful, it is hard to find small doses, such as 50 micrograms per day. One option is to take a 500 microgram capsule a couple days a week. We're going to aim to supplement 50 micrograms per day or whatever your healthcare provider says. So get yourself a bottle of vitamin B12 today. Now, what should I drink? Well, what did our ancestors drink? They drank water. So When you're eating this way, make sure to drink plenty of fresh, clean water. Drinking water can help prevent tooth decay, obesity, trouble sleeping, and other problems. Tea is also good, but go easy when you're sweetening. Black, green, or herbal teas are great. Coffee is okay too, unless you have trouble sleeping. Just use non-dairy creamer and go easy on that refined sugar. Try your best to avoid sodas, energy drinks, and other sweetened drinks. Next up, let's consider how these nutritious foods can come together into some great meals. Today's feature is a fun 12-minute video created by students and faculty at Kinlani Bordertown Dormitory in Flagstaff, Arizona. A special thank you to their teacher, Oakley Anderson Moore. This video introduces the native power plate and takes us into a meal-making competition, complete with a trip to the grocery store. Let's check it out.
Then we add sugar to our meat to give it the signature flavor you've come to love.
Side effects may include constipation, fatigue, obesity, and diabetes.
The delicious muck into casing. You can fry up any of our meat products with your family every night.
All you have to do is take one pill every day for the rest of your life.
Hi, welcome to our show. My name's Kai Begay.
I'm Kendra.
Sick and tired of feeling sick and tired of our modern cuisine?
So are we. Today we're focusing on food that you need to survive and thrive for.
Food that nourishes and heals you, and most of all, puts your family first.
We're fighting diabetes with native plant-based food.
Without breaking the bank.
Today's challenge, we're going to be making a delicious meal under $10 using the native power plate.
Question: what is the native power plate?
We're glad you asked, Judge number 3. The native power plate is the pattern of eating unlimited foods of 4 food groups: whole grains, vegetables, beans, and fruits. Scientific studies have shown that eating these 4 food groups can turn around A1C levels and reverse diabetes. Returning to ancestral plant-based food is how we can reclaim our health.
Now let me out competitors. Competitor number 1.
My name's Rochelle, and as a chef, I like to personally cook with corn because, one, it's one of my favorite native foods out there, and because it's also very healthy.
Contestant 2.
Hi, my name is Janica, and as a chef, I specialize in making food with beans. Beans are high in protein and fiber. They can help prevent diabetes by stabilizing blood glucose.
And last and finally, contestant number 3.
My name is Ajoni, and as a chef, I like to work with all sorts of colors, just like a rainbow. For me, working with colors is the best thing, and having more colors is it's like being fun. It brings out my inner child. The health aspect of using more variety of colors, it's like the more colors, the more minerals you get, or more vitamins you get. These are all natural colors, they're not dyed into what they're supposed to be. It's just all natural, and they're really good for you. Being colorful is what I live for.
Now it's time to meet our judges.
I'm a mom with a big family. I need to feed a lot of hungry people on a budget.
I'm a busy person. I work all day. I don't have time to cook all night, so I need to whip something up fast.
I'm hungry.
Okay.
I'm really hungry. Whatever they make better be filling. Like I always say, where's the meat?
Today's challenge is about plant-based foods.
So that means plant and meat?
No, just plants.
So plant and then meat?
No, plants from start to finish. As it turns out, you can get everything you need just from plants.
And off! Contestant number 2 is going at the bulk aisle.
The bulk goods aisle is my secret recipe on how I cook so healthy on a tight budget. Beans, cashews, walnuts, almonds, quinoa, raisins, oatmeal. Simple, healthy, and cheap. It might take longer to cook my dry beans, but I am getting so much bang for my buck.
Contestant number 3 is in the fresh produce aisle.
At all the colors.
Contestant number 3 is shopping in the frozen food section.
In the refrigerator aisle is where I substitute a lot of things for meat and dairy. See, like non-dairy milk, non-dairy butter. Same great taste, but without all the cholesterol and fat. Sometimes I'll even use the alternative meats, but to be honest, they're a bit pricey and not as healthy as I like them to be. But I usually go for one main thing, which is really good, which is tofu.
What is tofu anyway?
You don't know what tofu is? Oh, it's just beans. Soybeans.
And contestant number 1 is stopping at the canned goods aisles.
I love fresh fruits and vegetables, but I don't have the time to be chopping and peeling and cutting it. And I hate it most of all is when it goes bad and it's not fresh anymore. So sometimes I get canned food or frozen food, but even so I have to be careful because I don't want mixed weird junk in it, and that will not make the food go good and not as healthy as I want it to be.
Now contestant number 1 is going to the frozen food section. Ooh, cold.
Frozen spinach, frozen green beans, and frozen fruit. It's nature's candy. I love it fresh, but I'm on a budget, and it's a lot cheaper frozen.
Thank you for shopping with us here at the grocery. Looks like contestant number 2 is checking out. $7.50. How about that?
And here's contestant number 3. She's weighing around, wow, $5.25.
I don't believe it. Contestant number 1 is ringing out at $3.50.
Wheat flour, sea salt, vegetable powders, onion, garlic. These noodles are low fat. They're made without egg and oil. Any type of rice noodle or healthy noodles are okay. This is vegetable broth. This is what I'll use if the seasoning packet is not healthy because it has like a lot of salt and other stuff. Let me just let that heat up. Chilies have 5 times more vitamin C than 1 orange. So you can eat 5 oranges compared to just eating 1 melon.
Today, I'm using black beans, which are in this measuring cup, as you see. What I have in my hand is a quinoa plant. It is high in protein and also has 9 amino acids. It's done. So these are cashews that I have soaked overnight, and you can do them for 2 hours if you are in a hurry, but soaking them overnight is way better. Creamy. I like to cook with blue corn because blue corn has 20% more protein than white corn. The reason why I cook with juniper ash, a gram of ashes actually has more calcium than a glass of milk. The ash also helps release more nutrients from the blue corn and helps it contain its blue color. Yeah.
Chef, what do you have for us today?
I made green chili rainiers, a side of salad, and blue corn mush with blueberries.
This takes less than $4 to make. I'm in.
Chef, what are you serving?
I've made a quick vegetable ramen with low-fat noodles, tofu, and fresh vegetables. Enjoy!
You're telling me this only took 5 minutes to make? I'm in.
Chef, what have you cooked for us today?
Today I made a Mother Earth bowl, which is powered by my favorite ingredient, beans.
Judges?
Sorry, I like to take good naps after a good meal because it was like really good. Now maybe I should ask, where's the beans?
Judges, do you have a verdict? And the results are in. It's a 3-way tie.
Everybody wins with these healthy plant-based meals. Are you ready to try?
Thank you for watching Food is Medicine, the game show. These students and faculty at Kinlani Bordertown Dorm showed it is possible to make food that tastes great without spending a lot of money or time. Please take a look at the recipes, which can help you with today's challenge of the week. So here's a question for you. Why is it that until now, you've never been taught that plants can provide complete nutrition for human beings? Or that plants can prevent and often reverse many chronic diseases? Let's take a look at the U.S. food guides over the years. Starting back in the year 1916, the U.S. government began to offer advice on what to eat. In the 1940s, there were 7 food groups. One was margarine. Perhaps some people watching this learned about the food pyramid, created in 1992. The pyramid was designed so that the bottom was what you were supposed to eat most of, with grains, then fruits and vegetables on the bottom 2 rows. Then meat and dairy were above that, and oils were at the very top, and baked goods with fats and sugar were at the very top. The food pyramid was taught in schools, and it was printed on cereal boxes. The pyramid idea was scrapped in favor of a plate in 2011. This was an important development in the history of food diagrams. So, in 2005, the USDA created My Pyramid. This was a design filled with problems. Just by looking at it, you can see that it tells us nothing about what to eat. On a positive note, They did add a little figure to encourage exercise. But the public hated My Pyramid. Then, in 2011, the USDA replaced My Pyramid with My Plate. It shows 5 food groups: fruits, grains, vegetables, and protein. Fruits, vegetables, and grains are all good, but what is a protein? Protein is not a food. People don't raise protein or shop for protein. And protein is in grains and vegetables. If you read the text that goes along with My Plate, it says, protein includes meats and beans, but really it is in everything, and Americans don't suffer from protein deficiency. Also, they added this circle on the upper right-hand side that hangs on the outside, known as dairy. As we know from Native American ancestors, humans have no need for cow's milk. Humans survive without milk or dairy products throughout most of history. Something happened between 2005, when My Pyramid was released, and 2011, when My Plate was created by the USDA. In 2009, the Physicians Committee created a plant-based food diagram called the Power Plate. It was simple, powerful, based on the best available evidence. It was clear and easy to understand. The USDA building is actually not far from the Physicians Committee's office in Washington, D.C., and the Physicians Committee shared their design. In 2011, the USDA came up with this, My Plate. We're not saying they copied, but look how similar they are. It's really good to know that the central mission of the United States Department of Agriculture, or USDA, is to support farmers. Over the years, their primary mission has become to support big agribusinesses. The mission of the USDA is not health. At present, the USDA buys up surplus milk and cheese and forces schools that participate in the federal lunch program to take it to serve to children. We should be very cautious about nutrition advice from the USDA. In more recent years, the USDA has partnered with Health and Human Services to create nutrition advice, such as the My Plate design. However, this is still flawed, as some within the Health and Human Services Department receive funding from industry, specifically from the meat and dairy industries. Meanwhile, on the Navajo Nation, interest was sprouting within the Special Diabetes Program about how to best teach people what to eat. Tuba City Supervisor Edbert Little explains the difference between the Power Plate and the USDA My Plate. Here he is shown at a Special Diabetes Nutrition Conference in Chinle, Arizona in August 2012. Mr. Little had adopted a plant-based diet and found that he quickly lost 10 pounds. Navajo Nation Special Diabetes Program nutritionists found non-dairy almond and soy milks at Bosch's, along with cow's milk. On February 27, 2015, the Navajo Nation nutritionists began meeting to design their own food diagram, which they named the Dene Power Plate. They chose 4 food groups: fruits, vegetables, grains, and the bean family. They chose to use photos of real foods and added a circle of blue around the plate representing water. The Dene Power Plate includes representations of the 4 colors and directions. North is black, representing the bean family. East is white for the grains. South is blue for the vegetables, and west is red for the fruit. They wrote that the Dene Power Plate continues the teachings in prevention of diabetes, focusing on filling your plate with traditional Dene native plant foods to help you live longer, stay slimmer, and reduce your risk of heart disease, diabetes, and complications of diabetes. They were invited to present the Dene Power Plate at the Navajo Nation Research Conference. Then Vice President Jonathan Nez attended the Navajo Nation Research Conference and spoke with the NNSDP nutritionists. And 1 month later, Navajo Nation President Russell Begay released this proclamation in honor of National Diabetes Awareness Month. In it, President Begay said that the Dene people have been hard hit by diabetes. To combat it, they should get more physical activity and eat more plant-based meals. The current president of the Navajo Nation, President Nez, has adopted a plant-based diet himself several years ago. He has said that it has improved his running time and he has found he recovers faster after a race. In this picture, taken when he was still the vice president, he is speaking at a health fair at the Canoncito Health Center in Tohajali, New Mexico. Sitting beside him is a famous ultra-marathon runner, Scott Jurek, who has competed and won endurance races for many years on a 100% plant-based diet. Let me introduce you to Mrs. Barney, who has allowed me to tell her story. She is Diné and has been a nutrition educator for many years. When she was diagnosed with diabetes, she was embarrassed. After all, as a nutritionist, she thought she should have known how to avoid this. Her diabetes made her feel tired, and she had trouble getting her numbers down, even with medication. Then she decided to try eating plant-based. Just by changing her diet, she has dropped 6 dress sizes. She loves to talk about how a bus driver laughed at her when she was running to catch the bus, holding onto her skirt that was now way too big so it wouldn't fall down. She has lots of energy and doesn't ache when she gets in and out of the car on her daily long drives for work. All of her numbers are better, and she has been able to cut down use of her medications. I had the privilege of meeting Mrs. Barney last summer when she and I taught a class at the Gallup Indian Medical Center in New Mexico. She told the class, "If I can make this change, all of you can too." Sadly, the story of diabetes and Native Americans seems all too pervasive. But you can help to write the story of how Native Americans defeated diabetes. With the power of our plant foods on our plates, we can make the story of diabetes a thing of the past. These are our take-home points for Lesson 4. Number 1, remember to eat whole plant foods. That includes fruits, veggies, whole grains, and beans. Include some nuts and seeds, and drink water. 2, avoid animal products. 3, minimize oils. And 4, remember to take our vitamin B12 supplement. Over and over, we've seen people who follow a low-fat, plant-based diet drop cholesterol like a rock, lose stubborn weight, and normalize their blood pressure. So I encourage you to give it a try and find out what plant-based nutrition can do for you. Today's challenge of the week is to see how many days this week you can eat a whole grain at every meal. For instance, for breakfast, have a bowl of rolled oats. Lunch could be veggie chili made with corn, served over brown rice, or a peanut butter and banana sandwich on a 100% whole wheat bread. For dinner, how about a quinoa bowl? Remember to drink plenty of water to aid in the digestion of these high-fiber whole grains. Note what changes for you. If you have weight to lose, you'll see it come down. And don't forget, if you are on medicine that can cause low blood sugar or low blood pressure, and you don't feel well, check in with your healthcare provider to adjust your medication. Thank you for joining me. Come back next week for more easy and health-promoting meal ideas.
Okay, that's the end of today's pre-recorded lesson, and we have about 15 minutes left for any questions. We have our nutrition expert here with us tonight, Jennifer Paul, and if you have any questions, raise your hand or put it in the chat. So the goal for this week is to eat more grains. And we have our challenge paper at the end of the handouts, and it has SMART goals. And so what would your goal be this week? Do you plan to eat more grains such as brown rice instead of white rice, or more corn and popcorn as a snack, or quinoa, or will you try a new grain? So choose, or you can choose from rolled oats, switch to rolled oats from instant. So when we get those instant oatmeal, there's not a lot of the nutrition left in there. And so we want to try to get whole grains or steel cut oats or whole grain. It'll say on the package whole grain. So look at it when you buy your oatmeal. And then I found another way to get whole grains into our diet a little more easily is make rice, like wild rice, in the morning for breakfast, and you can church it up like oatmeal and put your nuts and cherries and non-dairy milk on there. And that's another way to get rice into your diet for breakfast too. So does anybody think they're going to have any challenges this week with eating more grains? If you think of anything during the week, email me and I can get your question over to Jennifer. Wanted to make sure we want to try that recipe again at the beginning, and it had the blue corn for breakfast with the squash. That's also another one you can include in this week for grains because of that blue corn. Well, let me know if you need anything to be successful in your challenge this week. We'll try to help out. If you haven't finished the survey for this middle of the class section, go ahead and complete that survey. It's in the chat and it's also in the email we sent yesterday. Does anybody have any success or any input they can put on how the journey's gone for the past 3 weeks? Does anybody notice they feel better or any weight loss? Let us know in the chat or raise your hand.
Oops.
Oh, yes.
I didn't mean to unmute. I was trying to chat.
Oh, all right.
It's like, dang it. I was just gonna say I feel like I had more energy, but I was sick last week too. So I'm gonna say it's the wild rice I had 3 times this weekend.
Yes, absolutely. I love to eat the wild rice. I feel like when I'm eating that, I'm feeding my ancient DNA that's still in our old blood that we carry with us. And the Creator wanted us to move to where we are to eat that wild rice. So I definitely think that you may have, yeah, you're definitely feeling better with that rice, Tina. Looking good. All right. I did have one thing I wanted to say, and that is when you're doing all these grains, drink water. And so if you see the food plate behind me with the blue circle around it, that is the water part of your plate. And so when you eat these grains, you're going to want to up your water intake. If you feel, you might have trouble going and you need to drink more water. So these grains, are good for us. And we also want to supplement the intake of the grains with water and help it get in there. Jennifer, is any tips you can give us for the grain week?
I would just say, if you have a grain that you really love, if you do some batch cooking, that can help. So you could cook, a big pot of it and then you're done for the week. You don't have to cook, grain every time you have a meal. You just have that in your refrigerator already cooked, and it makes it very quick to just put something together throughout the day.
Yes, I love that. And so I like to make this, I copied it from Costco, but it's the quinoa salad they have. And so I will make that in a batch, and then I can throw it on my salad. I can throw it in my wraps. I can just run by the kitchen and grab a spoon out of there, and it gets me going until I don't get a candy bar or something else. So yes, that's a good one, Jennifer. Thank you so much. All right. Anyone else? And then another one I wanted to share, and I usually share it at the beginning, I want to tell you guys that you can cook the same 3 vegetables and have it taste different every night of the week if you just change your seasonings. And so one night, if you want to try and have Italian seasonings, and you can have carrots and broccoli and cauliflower and it tastes Italian. And then the very next night, you can change it to the cumin and the chili powder and change it to like a Mexican flavor. And then also you can change it, saute it with your tamari or soy sauce and change it to more like an Asian flavor. So you can really go in any direction with the same vegetable. If you think you're getting tired of eating it, change it up with your herbs and your seasonings, and that'll give you a little more enjoyment out of the same vegetables if you have a bulk. Hi guys.
Hi Joyce.
How are y'all doing this week?
Good. We made our sweet potatoes, and the sweet potatoes we got were really super sweet, and we topped them with chopped walnuts and dried cherries. It was like a dessert. They were really, really good. And it was
Sounds
really
so good. You should share the recipe with us.
Yep.
All we did was put it in the Instant Pot.
We steamed them.
Oh, okay.
And then we just topped them with walnuts and
chopped walnuts.
Well, I didn't put dried cranberries on.
Dried cherries.
Oh, dried cherries.
Dried cherries. They're so good.
I like using those dried cherries on hot foods because it seems to like plump it for you, and you get that cherry back that dried.
Yeah. He liked the sweet potatoes.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
So good to hear.
Love the sweet potatoes.
And that's one of those magic 8 foods. And anytime we can get that magic in us, we know we're doing good for our body. I'm so glad to see him eating that. All right. Well, I think that might be it for tonight. And then let's do the challenge of the week. We'll eat more grains. Oh, you guys, I even bought a rice maker to make brown rice, but I tried the boil the rice and you drain it like pasta. It works every time because even in my rice maker, I'll have to test it and then add more water sometimes. And so I really love the pasta method for brown rice. So if you're scared of doing the brown rice because it's never done or it takes too long or you're going to have a dirty pan, this is not the case. You do it with the boil like pasta, drain it out, and you'll be able to have that as your bulk one. You can put that in your salads and your wraps. And that's my good tip for the week. I hope y'all enjoy that one. Okay, well, I look for the after the follow-up email tomorrow, and then we'll have the post email before the next one with our handouts. And if you missed tonight or you know somebody that wants to watch it, it's on the GTV website. You can go there. There's handouts. Email during the week for any questions. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, you're very welcome. You bet.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mama P.
Bye.
Oh, bye. Bye, Ella.